Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's amazing online event, Women in Gaming Breaking Boundaries. I will be your host, Beck Godsey. And first of all, thank you all for joining us tonight. This event was created by the Project and Portfolio 6 students, and it's all about highlighting the different paths women are taking across the gaming industry. Whether that's business, esports, content creation, game development, tonight is all about real conversations and real experiences. We've got an amazing lineup, so stay active in the chat. Drop your thoughts and enjoy the event.
And fitness. Join us at the Twilight Tales Glow 5K and Festival on May 15th at Heroes Community Park in Lake Nona. Experience the magic of a glowing 5K race, the excitement of a glowing pet parade, and unique activities like DIY glow crafts and the pet fashion show. With live music, vendor booths, and refreshments, there's something for everyone. Support a great cause and light up the night. Register now at twilighttale7.com or scan the QR code to secure your spot. Special thanks to Chewy, SeaWorld, and our community partners for making this event possible.
All right, let's get started. Our first panel is focused on the business and tech side of gaming. We're joined from Team Variant, including founder Zoe, product lead Grace, community lead Jackie, and user experience lead Amber. They're going to talk about what it actually looks like to build something in the gaming space, from idea to execution, and what working in roles like product, community, and UX really involves. Let's bring them in.
This summer, at the Big House in Tavares, Florida, the top 16 elite high school teams in Florida will come together for a unique opportunity to showcase their skills in front of college scouts and coaches. Presented by RBP Sports Music and Entertainment Group, in partnership with the Vince Carter Foundation, Florida's top 8 elite high school varsity boys and top 8 elite high school girls varsity teams will play against amazing sponsors. Don't miss the chance to hear about the NCAA eligibility process as well as info sessions regarding mental health for student athletes. For more information, register at FLElite16hoops.com. Let's ball.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us in our first panel with the Women of Variant. My name is Kirsten Crossway. I'm a student here at Full Sail, just about to graduate. Also, the user acquisition lead for Variant. So I'm so excited to have these ladies join us today, and we're going to really just dive into it. So if you could start with introducing yourselves for us.
Hi, my name is Jackie Anderson. I am a professional community manager and social media manager within the tech industry, such as the gaming industry and content creators.
Hi, my name is Amber, and I am the user experience lead at Variant. And pretty much what I do is welcome our new users, get them acquainted with our Discord community, and make sure their time at Variant is going smoothly. I help with any support, questions, lead them to the right place, help problem solve, and pretty much just make sure that the community is happy and flourishing.
Hi everyone, I am Grace Brindle. I am the product lead here at Variant. A little bit about me. So I got my master's in human-computer interaction from the University of Michigan, where I studied a lot of product development and user experience design and research. So I'm a very design-minded product manager. After my master's, I went to go work at Electronic Arts. I specifically worked on The Sims, as well as a few other titles like Covet Fashion, where I learned a lot about, mobile game monetization, engagement, feature development, data analysis, all that good stuff. Worked there for a couple of years and then left to come to Variant. So super excited to be here today.
Hi, my name is Zoe Lynch and I'm the founder of Variant. I'm very excited to talk to you about one, our company, and two, a bit more about our journey and myself. So Variant is a social platform where you express yourself through games. But more specifically, you communicate through them. So instead of like the traditional game or gaming platform, the point of the games on ours is to tell rather than just play. This is probably goes back to, well, it's a very personal thing for me, this company, because it goes back to when I was really young and how I always viewed games. I was born with multiple processing disorders, reading, writing, auditory, an unknown diagnosis once. I also had ADHD, and then I had a speech impediment. So when I was a kid, it was very difficult for people to understand me. And I just remember the first time my mom got me the game The Sims, and I was sitting next to my little sister, who I played every single game with growing up. And I set up this love triangle with her, Edward Cullen, and Taylor Lautner. And I clicked the buttons, and on the screen, there it was. There's my story. And she understood it. She was laughing. And it was for the first time. I didn't have to use words. I didn't have to speak. I didn't have to write. And I felt like I told my first story. After that, I would get into game development. Well, my mom would put me into game development because she said, oh, this girl is like, games are her path, clearly. She put me in game development, and I would code for, up until now. And when I got to high school, I would apply to Stanford, and only Stanford, because someone from the Sims team spoke there the year before, and I was like, okay, that means maybe if I go to Stanford, then I'll be able to work for the Sims. And then that is exactly what happened. I interned there for 2 years, and I'd worked at so many different, game projects on campus, at Dolby, with game engines, and a bunch of random events lined up, and then we started building Variant. And again, I think it's just very tied with my personal story, but also the personal story of a lot of people who are on my team and their connection to games.
Awesome, ladies. So the first question I have is for you, Zoe. When was the moment in college where Variant went from an idea to something that you knew you actually wanted to build?
So I would say the moment where I realized it wasn't an idea anymore, or for me it meant more than an idea, was probably like right when the words came out of my mouth, games as a form of communication. This was at a party, funnily enough, Stanford Oktoberfest, my senior fall. And I got in this debate with this guy about the future of games and what games can mean for people, and how in the future people are going to be interfacing with what people view as games, but experiencing them in completely different ways. Games are still going to exist, but there's going to be, a new genre in the sense where people can communicate through them too, like games as a language. And I remember I said it, I couldn't really stop thinking about it. So it was like every day after that, I couldn't really stop thinking about the conversation. And I think this was the first time, because when I was growing up, I didn't think, oh, I'm communicating through games. Oh, I'm telling my story. It was almost this more subconscious thing I was doing. And I was like, oh, well, that's exactly what I was doing. And I just said it in words. And it was pretty cool because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I made this really bad Figma mock-up. I knew at one point I would need to raise money, because I knew this could only happen with, obviously, a team. This would only happen with, great people around me. So I was like, okay, well, let's see, what do I need for that? Okay, I need to know how to raise money to pay these people. So I go to this investor mentor type thing that, and I showed him a really bad Figma design of my idea, and I was like, yeah, basically going into the meeting, trying to get advice of how to start a company. And he saw it, and he was like, okay, actually, I want to invest in you. So that's how I got my first check. And I guess that's when it became really, really real.
Grace, from the production side, what's been the hardest part of making it simple for the users to take their creative ideas and turn it into an actual platform?
So I think the hardest part of allowing users to really create anything is that obviously people can come up with an infinite list of ideas and prompts for games and creations and stories. So I think on our end, how do we create enough mechanics, since these are all handcrafted by developers, to be able to account for all these ideas and make sure that every user is able to express themselves through the mechanics that we have. So I think in terms of content, that's really tough, just making sure that we have a number of mechanics so that people feel like, they're getting ideas across through our tooling. And then I think also at the same time, in terms of the flow, when we think about how do people create, what's the best way for them to create, every person has different needs when it comes to their creation workflow. So some people need a lot more assistance with brainstorming, they appreciate the help of an AI assistant. They are maybe very intimidated by a blank page. And then other people, they are overflowing with ideas. They don't really care about or need an AI assistant. They just want to get right into the creation process. So I think designing for these different types of users and making sure that we are able to account for everyone's needs, and while not overcomplicating, the flow, or, making sure that the quality of the content we produce is still really good, while still ensuring there's enough of it, enough mechanics to match everyone's desired, games or whatever, is very challenging. So I think, to sum up, basically we face challenges in terms of the amount of mechanics we have, and then also the creation flow itself and optimizing that to ensure that everyone feels like they're able to participate and engage with it.
Amber, seeing as you help keep the community engaged, what are some ways to make sure users feel seen and encouraged to keep creating on Variant?
I really just interact with them. I feel like for a healthy, thriving community, you really need to have high engagement, a lot of interaction. And to do that, I find what works best for the community. So I like to do interactive things like polls and contests and just sharing things that we've created on Variant. And we're going to be doing something where we feature games of the week that were made on Variant. I think that's going to be a great way to foster engagement and community, and just really individualizing the experience for the user. It's not a cookie cutter experience. Everyone experiences it different, everyone's using it differently, and to make sure I acknowledge that with all my interactions with the users, and just to be there for them. I feel like that's the best way to make people feel welcome and a part of a community and foster a sense of place and belonging.
Jackie, what are a few things that you may do as a process to ensure people feel comfortable sharing their ideas, even if they're just starting out?
So for me, I know from back when I was first starting in this industry, it can be very, very daunting to speak up and to say, this is my idea I have, because sometimes there are figures in play that make you feel a little intimidated. My approach is keeping everything low pressure from the get-go. Validation, make people feel validated, understand that you are listening and reacting. Help them with their ideas, maybe build on it, point out what's working, or follow up so they know, oh, this person's taking me seriously. And then remind people that an idea doesn't need to be perfect. I can rarely think of a time where I've had an idea for either a content creator program or an engagement program, and it's just been the greatest thing ever, and it's worked right off the bat. They always need tweaking, adjustments, or whatever else we need to do to make sure that idea can spring off the ground and grow.
Okay, I'd love to have any of you ladies jump in on this one. How do you balance giving users creative freedom while still keeping the platform structured and usable?
So our user is the most important thing ever. Their freedom, their trust in us, and their authority over their work is the most important thing. We designed our system with great intention, in the sense where we are making it so AI can be 100% optional. We are making it so creators on the marketplace can say, you know what, I don't want AI to, anybody who purchases my mechanic to, use AI in it at any point. There could be someone who'd be like, I don't want my character to appear in AI generated games. And that will just be a filter that people cannot do that. On the further end, if someone wants to create something completely new, they can create a mechanic that, say, no one had seen before, or that shows, so much creativity, which, one, not only allows them to express themselves on the platform, but two, if someone else sees that and they're like, wait a minute, I want to buy it, or I want to, obtain it, if the person put it up for free, for example, they would be able to use it too and express themselves through that new mechanic. We have our own internal, obviously, system that our game developers, created 400 game mechanics, and that list is only going to keep expanding. But there's also, our plan for our UGC marketplace, where they are also growing this kind of extreme set of scenarios. The thing is, there's infinite scenarios people can talk about. So that means you need kind of thousands and thousands and millions of, different mechanics that can represent those scenarios. So we knew kind of what the bare minimum, what we needed to get done was, and it wasn't about the graphics, it wasn't about how fancy everything was, it wasn't about how long the games were. It was, can we get the minimal viable product that can help people express themselves through things. And it was difficult. It took a very long time. But I think we're very confident in what we have now. And we think it's very scalable in the sense where we give people not only freedom of, what they can create, but also freedom in how they can create. So we're very proud about that. And that helps us keep structure.
Zoe, what were some moments early on where things didn't go as planned, and what were your biggest takeaways for moving forward?
Oh, there are moments that don't go as planned early. Now, in the future, it's always going to happen. We've had hires that we thought were going to be amazing, and then we were like, no, and had to fire them. We've had moments like probably every week where we thought we were going to do something one way, and then we had to pivot it and change it and find another way around it. Like, we've had moments where things have been delayed and taken more time than we had anticipated. There's been moments where people have said, no way your thing is ever going to work. There's been moments where people have passed on investing and didn't get the vision. That's probably the biggest one. There's been many moments where people don't see what we see. So in my mind, throughout my life, I've always had hurdles to hop over, like many like unusually many, and the thing was, it was like I was always a type, because I had such a strong support system in my family, I always got over them. The thing that keeps me the most motivated in the beginning, it was making sure that my story was heard, but then a bunch of people joined it and it became their story too. That's my team's story, that's the people who work with us story, and I think I have a much bigger motivation now, even though that other one was extremely large. It's like there was no other motivation I ever thought could surpass that, where no matter what happens, we're going to keep going, because they trusted the crazy idea, and they believed in it, and that's something I would always want to protect, and the thing I'll care about the most. So yeah, there's no world and universe where I would be like, oh, I want to give up. That's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. So I think my biggest takeaways was I think I learned not only how amazing my team is. I mean, I already knew that. I looked at people from jump, but it was like how well we work together and we stick together. But I also learned how great of a motivation they are to me.
This one can be for any of you ladies. What makes Variant different from other social platforms and short form content apps from a design perspective?
I think what makes Variant different from other social platforms is that we really have this strong emphasis on interaction and active engagement and play and creation, in contrast to other platforms that are much more focused on consumption and passive scrolling. I think in user interviews, that's something that we're hearing a lot from people, is that they're just so tired of being in this doom scrolling loop where they're just constantly scrolling and not actually connecting with people or creating anything. And so I think we're trying to reintroduce that element into social media of creating this space that's very community forward and also very focused on actually making stuff in a community of people who also want to make stuff. I think in addition to that, we are very passionate about this marketplace we've created where people can really share their creations. I think that's something that you don't really see on a lot of other social media platforms. We're also very community driven. What I mean by that is that we're actively working with game developers to build this platform, and we're taking the insights that we're getting from game developers and from users and actually changing the product based on people's feedback. So it's more of a collaborative product development process. I think finally the other thing is, I know there's been a lot of discussion about AI, the harmful effects of AI, also potentially the benefits of AI, and everyone has a different attitude towards AI with regards to their creative process. And so I think we've been really passionate about making sure we're giving users agency over how much they want to use AI on our platform, and also making sure that we are being as transparent as possible with users, with what is actually content that's AI generated. And how does that actually reflect in our design? Well, we are having a human-made label on human-made content. In the marketplace, you'll be able to distinguish between mechanics and assets that are actually made by developers versus ones that are AI generated. If you are really opposed to AI, you can actually filter content that is AI made so it doesn't even appear to you, and only focus on content that is made by hand. So I think just making sure we are giving users agency over that is something that we're doing it in a way that I haven't really seen a lot of other platforms do. So I think that makes us really special.
And how do you measure the success for creators and for the platform as a whole? And what metrics matter most right now in this startup?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. I think right now in this early stage of our product, we're just really focused on making a great product that delights users. And so the way that we measure that is primarily through engagement, metrics related to engagement. The biggest one is retention. So of people who download Variant, how many are still using it the next day? How many are using it a week later, a month later? And this is a reflection of how much people actually enjoy the product. Stickiness is really important, and kind of just another way of measuring satisfaction. Once we have that stickiness and we make sure people are actually engaging with the product and really like it, then we can shift to more of a growth-focused mindset and focus on new installs and just scaling up and getting more users. So I think when it comes to creators, each creator has their own definition of what success looks like to them, as each one has their own motives for creating. But for us, we primarily want to make sure on the platform side that, one, creators are able to make the content they want, two, connect with the users and the community that they want, and also give them access to a broader network of game developers, and three, make sure creators actually feel rewarded for their work in whatever format that looks like to them, whether that's just making sure that their work is being exposed to our users, making sure that their work is being monetized successfully, and that they feel like this is a very satisfying experience. And so I think in terms of the consumption side, users on the play side, we again just really want to look at whether people are engaging with the variants that they're seeing, making sure that our content is good. Also, whether they are creating variants themselves, whether it's easy to make variants, how many variants are being made per user per day. So I think those are all really good metrics for us to track that kind of show you, the extent to which users are actually enjoying and engaging with the product, and then also how they're also using the platform too, which will inform our product development, feature development going forward too.
Zoe, what was the first prototype or experiment you built to test the idea of sharing through games? And what surprised you the most from early users?
So I would say the first prototype that there was probably the Figma that I made in the winter. And it looked very different than it does now, obviously, but it had the vision. And I think it was the first time when I showed my investor, and he was immediately like, oh, we want to invest in you. I was like, okay, that's a lot of conviction in this thing that I didn't even build out yet, right? So I was like, that was something that was this is the biggest surprise, one of the huge surprises, especially that early. Now, the next prototype that we would actually build was when, obviously, was probably at the end of the summer, where we had this, it was like basically, I guess, the app we have now, but like a million times worse. But it was testing, okay, when you give these people this like stripped down system, but you let them know they can put themselves or other people in these experiences, and again, the point is to like tweet something out, can they use it? And we saw that even though it was so bad, what we had back then, they knew what to do with it. They wanted to put their friends in it. They wanted to put politicians in it. They wanted to put people around the world in it. They wanted to put their dogs in it. They wanted to put anime characters in it. They wanted to do so many different things. Where for us, it was like, okay, that means they would know what to do with it when it was fully formed and, in our opinion, good. Now, that's a different story. And that's something that we're going to see, obviously, when we do launch.
How would the team describe the platform to all the people who have never heard of Variant before?
We would say we've created a new language that's interactive that you can speak through. and you can talk about your friends, you can make inside jokes, you can express your opinions, you can deliver news, but the language is an interactive one. And honestly, for me, I've always been someone, words never really even work for me. And the best way I could express things was through the game. So I'd have to tell them also, you just gotta play it and you'll understand.
Where do you all see Variant in the future, and how do you hope it changes the way people think about games and social platforms?
Oh, I think Variant is going to change a lot of things. I think, I've always believed there was a different language through games that most people never had to speak through. I think communication through multimedia is one of the most powerful languages I believe exists. The thing is, when you put that in people's hands, it's basically like giving them a new language. And if they learn to speak it and they come back to speak through it, what that can turn into goes way beyond what I can predict, goes way beyond what anybody who works with me can predict. It's like that becomes a language that's remixable and moldable and expandable from our users as well as us. So if we can harness that, interactive content as a language, I think it can change the game in many ways. In many ways, again, we can't even predict now. Now, in regards to what I hope for the most, what I care more about is, I would want Variant to change the game in the sense I would want it to show people that there can exist a social app or a game company that throughout its life prioritizes the user, their privacy, their trust, creatives, their recognition, their respect throughout its lifeline, if it dies ever. And I think that would honestly be what I would think is a win, because if you can be the first to show that it is possible, maybe more people who care about the ethical development of consumer products, they can see, okay, we can do it too and be successful.
Awesome. To wrap this up, I heard you guys brought a playable demo to show us, so we're going to go ahead and let you take that demo away.
Hello, welcome to our demo. Here's how you log on to the app to see the magic. So welcoming us to the feed is a Bob Ross game someone made. Here is Jack Sparrow, like in a Tiny Wings type game. This is a heated rivalry hockey game. And this is, I think, this is me and my investors in a visual novel talking about our launch. So you can also full screen games within the feed. Here are just some more games, but also one thing to say, we have two different types of games. So one is ones that you play, the other ones are that you tell. Play is more so the traditional game mechanic, and tell is more so the visual novel, like this one, with Kris Jenner and Corey. And it's basically like a choose your own adventure. So this is my mom's account, actually. She loves Kris Jenner, so this is one game that she made on her profile feed. And I feel like going through, there's more. Oh, this is one with LeBron and Steph Curry playing basketball. So now let's talk about my favorite part of the app, which is the marketplace. This is the UGC economy that we are building with artists and game developers, where they're able to upload their art or mechanics that then other people can use in their own game. So say someone makes a Flappy Bird game and they want people to be able to use the mechanics. Someone else can buy it and be like, oh, I want to put Kris Jenner in this. We think this is very beneficial. We're actually going to be putting out our first featured content on the marketplace from creators in our developer program. It's called Variant Camp, and right now we have around 10 students, but 100 applicants. So this is my profile. This is me like riding a horse in a game. And here's some more things that I made. This is a heated rivalry game where they're ice skating, if you do know the popular TV show Heated Rivalry. Another one I did was pretty funny, was Erica Kirk versus Drewski's Erica Kirk fighting each other. So to create, we have two modes, quick create and co-create. Quick create is the mode where you can kind of just put in a prompt and then create a game. Here I'm putting me and my boyfriend saying, we're doing Pilates. And if you notice on the top left, we're in play mode. So again, play mode is the traditional game mechanics. Now we're gonna give an example of tell mode, which is the visual novel, choose your own adventure type. Same thing, me and my boyfriend. We also give an option for people to directly input a script if they don't want AI generation. For the sake of this video, I will do AI generated. So I'm gonna say, me and my boyfriend doing Pilates. I wanna be wearing a pink workout set and he can wear a t-shirt and shorts. So while that's generating, this is how you view your drafts. These are all the games I had made. These are all the games I have. Our app also has groups, which is what I'm showing now, where people can make games around specific topics and niches. And you can obviously search. This is Love Island. There was a lot of Love Island games made last week, funnily enough. And here are the notifications. My game is ready. This is me, and again, my boyfriend doing Pilates. It actually generated as a woman, which is actually so funny, because because that's a bug that's getting fixed. But yeah, and then yeah, the other one is also ready, and this is exactly the visual novel type with me and my boyfriend. He is actually the right gender at this point in time, but you can see there's choices. We talked through it. This was us getting matcha after Pilates, and we're in a little park, and yeah. So when you publish, you can publish to everybody. Actually, this one I'm just doing to my friends only. I'm also making a playlist. So I want to make a couple playlists with me and my boyfriend. I'm going to make him the title. And yeah, this is one that I'll share with my friends. And as you can see, when you make a playlist, you can add the variants to it, and that's it. So ending this off, what's very important for us to say is that all of our game mechanics were made by game developers. Our animations were made by animators. Trust with the creative community is the most important thing, because we believe that our platform cannot do well without the collaboration of developers, artists, animators, 3D artists on our marketplace, which is exactly what has informed our decisions to have AI be optional, even in the writing piece. Aside from that, yeah, we're building this. We're launching literally in 5 days. We're aiming for the 15th, and we're very excited because I think we've gotten quite a lot of positive feedback, and we think this can become something pretty big. So thank you for watching my demo.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us today. Again, I had Zoe, Grace, Jackie, and Amber here with me from Variant, and we were so happy to have you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Our best golf game yet. PGA Tour 2K25. In one of golf's most iconic venues. Featuring the presence of tour pros and exclusive giveaways. So do not miss the chance to visit the 2K booth at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Try our new game, win prizes, and play with the pros. This event is presented to you by...
That was such a great conversation and a really good look into the business side of the industry. Now, we're going to shift over into the esports and content creation side. This next panel is hosted by Boxy and will cover what it's like building a brand, growing a community, and navigating the esports space as a woman. If you're interested in streaming and content creation, this one's for you. Let's get into it.
Hey, I'm Morgan. I'm also known as Boxy as my handle when I'm gaming. I am a student here at Full Sail as well. I'm from Iowa, and I'm also doing a whole bunch of things on the side with Armada and volunteering in my own esports team as well. So can you introduce yourself and tell us how you got started in esports or content creating?
Hi, I'm Mia. Nice to meet you. My online gamer tag is Mia Mouse. I got started in gaming, well, since I was so young, because I've been playing video games my entire life. But esports specifically during COVID, I got super into esports and in gaming because there was nothing else to really do. I feel like that's the story with a lot of people. And I've been creating content for a long time, whether it's people actually watching it, because I started in middle school with Minecraft. No one watched those videos at all. But once I got into COVID, I got super into content creation, super into hosting because I went to school for broadcasting as well. But I originally went for the news. Obviously, no one was really reporting on the news during COVID or like accepting new hires because they didn't do it online. They all did it like in studio, but esports was hiring for online. So I think that's kind of how I started to get into it. I think if COVID never happened, I probably would have never took this route.
Wow, that's really interesting. I
Yeah.
think a lot happened during COVID, to be quite honest. So what challenges did you face when you first started out?
I think like the biggest challenge with anything in the arts, not just like esports or just like really anything on camera, behind the camera, it's like you're scared for how people are going to perceive you, I think was a big thing for me. I was scared people weren't going to take me serious also because I was a girl, or they thought I didn't know what I was talking about, or like I can't be a high rank in a video game because like that means I'm boosted or whatever. Like I just immediately felt like I felt not credible to the gaming industry. So I'm also just like a very nervous person when it comes to like that type of thing. So that was definitely one thing I was super scared of. And then another thing I was scared of was even when I was on camera, I tried controlling everything. So at one point, like when I first started, I tried controlling my breathing. I paid like attention to like when I was breathing and when I was blinking. So I couldn't even concentrate on what I was saying because I was concentrating on my facial expressions and my breathing for no reason because I was just getting so nervous. And the last thing was it's so hard when you start out because, you know, I started out with streaming to practice my public speaking skills before I went on camera for like events and stuff. And you know, I was streaming to like one viewer for like 2 years straight every single day. And I just kept on doing it even though like I wasn't succeeding with anything. So yeah.
So do you feel women have to prove themselves more in gaming?
Unfortunately, I do feel like that. I just feel like, and I don't know, maybe people do it subconsciously sometimes, which again, like that doesn't forgive anything. But there's been times where I feel like I've been in a room and someone has asked my opinion on, oh, like, what do you think like we should do with this part of the game? Or like, what's your opinion on this update or whatever? And I just feel like instantly some people will like knock my opinion down a little bit lower because maybe I haven't been in the gaming industry or like the FPS world as long as like, you know, I feel like a lot of guys get put on an FPS game like out of the womb, but obviously like my parents handed me like obviously like, dolls and stuff like that. I wasn't really exposed to gaming when I was younger, and I think like some men will think their opinion matters a little bit more because they've been in it longer. Not all, but like I have came across my fair share, unfortunately.
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
So have you experienced toxicity or disrespect while gaming? Or like how did you handle that?
Yeah, I've experienced it. I think all like women and minorities have experienced this, like whether if it's streamers or in esports or just like even casually playing a game like online, like in voice chat, like you get overwhelming sometimes. I think my biggest like form of this is because I stream whenever like a video of mine will blow up. I will get some hate comments. Like it's mostly all like love, but I just feel like 2 hate comments stand out amongst like, you know, 100 comments of love. Like those 2 will stick with you, and you'll like kind of feel the need to change like a part of you if they're like, oh, your hair looks weird today. Like, you know, I don't know, that will stick with me more than 100 compliments on my hair for some reason, which I wish it didn't, but I think you're only human, so you stick with it.
That is true. I feel that way as well. Like if you get one comment that's just like, oh well, I don't like you. It's like, okay, well, like let me figure out why you don't like me.
Yeah.
So what are some things that women go through in esports or gaming that like the people don't actually see from us?
For me, again, it's just nerves and anxiety of people taking me serious. Sometimes I'm overthinking it. I've seen a few people do it to me, and it's not a lot of people. Like, it's only been a few people since I've been working in the esports and gaming industry that have I felt like uncomfortable in a room with. But I think it's just a constant fear of, is that going to happen again? Like, I don't want it to happen again, so I will overly study. Say I'm hosting an event, I will overly study this event because I just feel like if I get something wrong, they'll be like, oh, you got it wrong because you're a girl and you know nothing about the topic. Not because, oh, you got this wrong because maybe you didn't study enough or maybe there was a mishap. I just feel like if I'm going to make a mistake on air, people are going to blame it on me being a woman. And I know that's not, again, it just comes down to like my own anxiety and being nervous and almost wanting to prove a point as well. Because for me, I'm all about like breaking through maybe like a male dominated field. And I want to prove the point that women could be in this industry as much as like men can be. So I will always like get super nervous before going on air or talking to someone and working a new event with people I don't know.
Yes, definitely. I just totally mind blanked.
It's okay.
So what's your favorite game right now and why?
Ooh. Well, okay, I have to say Valorant because I stream Valorant every day, but a game that's not Valorant. What game have I been liking recently? Overwatch. I feel like Overwatch made a surge. What's it called? Resurged. Yeah, I think that's what that's called. And I feel like I really like it. I was super into Overwatch in 2016 and kind of like died down after like I don't even know what happened with Overwatch. It just died. But now it came back a little bit. So I've been playing a lot of Overwatch recently.
And the next question I have for you, which I believe is also the final question, is what message do you want to leave for the next generation of girls who want to get in esports or content creation?
I think just do it. And maybe you're talking to the wrong person, but I just overthink everything I do. Maybe if you talk to another person, like another woman in the industry, they'll tell you like, oh, they don't overthink things and they'll just do it. For me to make a decision of, should I post this video? What's the feedback going to be on this video? What are people going to think about? What are people going to say about me? How are people going to portray me? Is this going to ruin my career for the rest of my life? Like, that's kind of like where I am with like everything that I do. I've gotten a little bit better with it, but I will say that you should just do it. I wait too long to do things sometimes and I regret it because I'm scared of what people are going to think about me, or I'm scared that I'm going to mess up. And I think like whenever I just throw myself into it, it ends up working out. But I will overthink, say an event I have to host is an hour long. I will overthink this event for like an entire month. I will write scripts and study for like so long. And after the hour is over, I'm like, oh, that wasn't bad. And I'll like keep on doing it. So I think just do it. It's going to work out. You're gonna get over that hill of whatever you feel like inside and emotionally, and it's all gonna be okay. I think that's my best advice.
I mean, that's really good advice though, because I mean, you kind of have to you have to stand out of your shell just to be like comfortable with who you are, and I feel like not many people, especially nowadays, understand that it's okay to be you.
Yes, I think another thing is if you feel uncomfortable or like out of your element, it's a good thing because that means you're learning. For me, whenever I get too comfortable, whenever I'm not uncomfortable, I realize that I'm already too used to the way that I'm living. If I'm doing the same thing every single day and I'm in a super comfortable spot, I feel like, oh, that means I already know everything. I'm not scared because there's nothing new getting thrown at me. Whenever there's something new getting thrown at me, I feel a little uncomfortable or unsure, but at the end of it, that means that I'm learning because I'm learning something new and I'm constantly growing. If you feel comfortable all the time, that means you're not growing anymore. So I think that's another thing I had to really think about in my head to realize.
Agreed.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I also go by Boxy. I am a shoutcaster for Armada, as well as going to Full Sail University for my game business and esports degree. Can you introduce yourself and tell us how you got started in esports?
Hi, my name is Cecily Nunez, and I am on the Full Sail Armada team for Valorant. I go by FSA Mabel / Angie. I started watching Fortnite competitively, and I've always dreamed about being similar or decent in the Fortnite scene, but it kind of just developed over time when I decided to get into different games. And right now, as of lately, Valorant is my go-to game.
What was the moment you realized I can really do this?
The moment I realized I can really do this was when I started picking up tips and watching VCT Americas, VCT EMEA, and China and Pacific. And I realized that a lot of the Sentinel playstyle is really me. So I actually felt like, you know what, I got this.
If someone looked at your gameplay today, what do you want them to feel or learn from you?
If someone were to look at my gameplay, I honestly think that they would assume that I am bad, but I would think that they will learn a lot of different valuable setups for Sentinel, and they will be able to adapt it into their gameplay and kind of get a lot of clutches with the setups.
What are some things women go through in esports that people don't always see?
Some things that women go through in the esports community is kind of living up to that standard that they can prove that they do have worth in the industry, and it can sometimes take a mental toll to having that kind of pressure. But you know, some girls are baddies, so they are able to counter that and not really show it. But I do feel like within themselves, they have to live by that every day.
What advice would you give to young women dealing with negativity or hate online?
I honestly say when it comes to online hate, there's really not much you can do about it, simply because they are just like you, sitting in a chair, and they're playing a video game, and at the end of the day, like, you get off this internet and you go sleep, you eat, do daily activities, and although it can affect you in some aspects, but I wouldn't think too much about it, because they bleed like you. They are human just like you. So I would just take it easy and mute the person.
What does breaking boundaries mean to you personally?
I would say breaking boundaries is more of like proving other people's wrong. So if you have like a set play and you feel like your play is more better, or you know, just because of your play style and you're able to clutch around, then I think, you know, breaking boundaries is a good thing to have, or maybe as a habit. But always listen to your coach, so, or your IGL. But there's never nothing wrong with doing it once in a blue moon.
What changes would you like to see in esports and gaming for women in the future?
Okay, well, I technically have two answers for this because I am very heavy on the Valorant. I do know a little bit about Fortnite and another game, but I can say, like, at least for Valorant, changes that I would like to see is women having more opportunity to join in the #1 tournament in Valorant. I do find it unfair that it's only extended to male, and there are some really good players in the GC community. As far as for other esports, honestly, just having that equalness to be able to participate in the same wavelength as male.
How do you stay original and stand out in such a crowded space?
I can say that I would stand out in a crowded space only because I stay true to myself. So that's the same advice that I would give to anybody else. You need to stay true to yourself. One thing that has always taught me is that everybody tries to be like everybody. there's always like that one or two person that would be different, and I think that different is more valuable than just being a copycat version of other people or social media trends or anything with that sort.
What message do you want to leave for the next generation of girls who want to get into esports?
I say the message that I would leave for the next generation would be just stay true to yourself, get better, become the best version you can be, and prove everybody wrong. Because you have the power to showcase your talent, your energy, show what you know, what you've learned, and you will come out on top. And I think that's it. Bye-bye!
You want to go to college, but scheduling doesn't fit? You want to do assignments in your PJs? Then Full Sail Online is for you. You can watch lectures and do assignments in any time and anywhere you want. For more information, check it out at www.fullsail.edu.
All right, now we're going to switch things up a little bit. We're moving over into some live gameplay featuring team fight tactics. This is a chance to learn the game while watching it played live, and we'll have some audience interaction as well, so stay active in chat and be a part of it.
NHL 25 Pink Puck Open, October 5th at the Full Sail Fortress.
Hi friends, I'm Kate Swizzle. Today I'm going to walk you guys through a game of TFT and explain everything like you've never played before. So I'm going to go over the basics, what I'm doing, and why I'm making those choices. So as you see here, each game starts with something called an encounter, and that basically changes how the game plays. So depending on what the encounter is, certain team comp strategies or choices might be either stronger or weaker. So in this game we had Twisted Fate, so all augments this game will be gold tier. So for stage 1, this will be primarily the minions. So when I play, I typically just buy all the units so I can hold everything. Since there's no interest yet, there's not really any particular reason to save gold. So I typically buy out the units I want to keep just to keep my options open, maybe hear early upgrades, things like that. So looking at that, I know I want this guy. Ionia, this game is not something I really want. So things like that. So there's also traits as you saw here. Each set, some traits have varying requirements that change each game. So Ionia in this set is one of them. So in this instance, these units gain extra AD, which is attack damage, or extra AP, which is ability power, increased by the higher level you are in the game. So again, based off my bench so far, I actually have about 3 different angles I could go. Let's see, based off of my augment now, what I want to do. So let's see. This is an item augment. I kind of don't really want that. But I typically don't really use that item on majority of units I play. So this is pretty good too, but that's if you're planning on loose streaking or playing an early reroll comp. Warlord's Honor is something that I typically potentially start with. Let's see. Okay, actually in this case, I'm gonna just go lifting competition. Since I have that Aphelios in my shop. So basically lifting competition is, like it says, at the start of each round, if the combined health of all their bruisers is enough, you gain a reward, increase the threshold, things like that. So what I'm actually going to do now is sell my bench for the units I don't need. So in this case, I really only need these guys. Since it's a round already. So the reason why I bought these is because he is typically the unit that I place in the back line for this comp. I can sell him. And then next, we have here, we just wait. I'm not gonna put any items yet specifically because I do have specific ones in mind that I like using when I play him or this comp. So in this case, I'm going to be playing Aphelios Bruisers, which is basically a reroll composition, which means like the lower level, the more 3-star units you have. So in this case, I'm going to be trying to 3-star a lot of like my 1-cost, 2-cost bruisers, which is this trait here. Now, thing is, this is also a comp that uses Bard, so I will actually have to roll my gold here. Well, let me disable my team planner because I have another comp in there that I'm playing to get him, and I put him in. So, in this set, champions change frequently. But in this instance, Bard is a unit where you had to basically roll 4 times before the carousel. I'm actually going to put this item on him. So for Sunfire Cape, grants health every 2 seconds, as you can see, heals burn and wound, things like that. So I did waste some of my gold there, but in this case it was pretty worth it because I didn't get a unit for the specific comp. Now for the carousel, I'm looking for either something that will go for the unit I want to play, or in this case, since there isn't a specific unit that I want, I'm going to go for an item, which just got taken. So let's go with the belt for now. We could put that out of tank. In this case, I did want to go for the rod because I wanted to make a rage blade for my Aphelios, but wasn't able to get that. So I went for the belt instead because then that is an item that I can put on a later unit, or actually I can make a Gnasher's Tooth for my Bard. And I just sold my vibe because I would like to keep my gold above 10. So above 10, above 20, above 30, etc, etc. Yeah. And another thing too is that early on in the game, it's kind of more about unit strength than synergies. So Upgraded units are typically stronger than just like 1-star units of traits. In my case, I don't really have any upgraded units, as you saw, so I kind of just went the trait matching route, but that's typically a good like guideline or rule of thumb as well. So I just used my 1 free reroll from Bard since I lost that round. I'm able to upgrade my Shen. Also, another thing to note too is that for stage 2, losing early is okay. Your health or your HP is, in a sense, kind of a resource. So if I lose a few rounds early or now, but get stronger later, that's completely okay, because the farther in the game, the more health you lose per loss. Typically, I would want to go 30 here, but because I do need those units, I am not. Now we just have here our Gromps, and here it typically gives items, sometimes units, depends on the level, the round, stage, things like that. Okay, so it's 3-1. I kind of would rather be 6 right now, but obviously that is not the case. So I am just going to try and put in a unit for what matches. Obviously we don't have a matching bruiser yet. Oh, we got another bruiser. I spoke too soon. But this case, I'm just going to stay 5 because I want to keep at 40 for now. My goal would ultimately be to go 50. But another good guideline to know is that when it comes to items, it's really better to give damage items to your carry, or in tank items to, well, your tank. It's kind of self-explanatory in that sense. And with gold, it's usually really important because you earn more for saving it. So usually I do try and stay at those certain breakpoints, or if I can, above 50, and the lowest I'll try and be is 32. So here, actually, Pilfer is a pretty decent one because you gain a 1-star copy of the first champion you killed that last combat, and so after that you can get a Thief's Gloves. In this case, I don't want Spreading Roots because I don't really want the emblems because I'm playing Bruiser. This one is decent too. I personally don't really want Pilfer, so I'm going to roll that one. In this case, since I do have a heavy frontline comp, I am going to go with Healing Orbs. Just so that pretty beneficial. So now bear in mind, for stage 3, this is typically the part of where you want to decide how to play the game. So whether it's focusing on upgrading cheaper units or reroll comp like I'm playing, or you're leveling up to play stronger comps later, which is like basically fast 8 as they call it, or fast 9, which just means that you're trying to get to level 8 or level 9 quickly. When it comes to rolling, it is better to roll during combat rounds. You do not want to roll during like the auto battler points with like Gromps, things like that, or even like carousels or anything like that. So right now, my biggest issue or struggle right now actually is that I do not have any units for my Aphelios and any other units for them. So that's kind of tough, but we're gonna figure it out. So I'm just gonna roll a little bit, see if I can get some pairs. Maybe another bard, but looks like I can't find any of that yet. So since I am playing around cheaper units, as you saw early in the game, I did try not to spend too much early. I just wanted to grow my gold throughout of stage 2, which is beneficial, as you can see now, since I was able to be around 50. And as we saw last round, we usually roll a little, like 10, maybe 15, to try and stabilize, find some 2 stars, which I was not able to, unfortunately. And then decide if you need stronger mid costs, maybe level to 7. If playing that lower cost reroll, then I'll stay 6 for better odds. What I mean by better odds is here is your percentages of each unit you'll get. Okay, let's see if now on this carousel I can get that bow, and I can because it's right in front of me. But I'll go back to my point once this carousel is over. I will say too, depends who you ask. Some people are for them, against them, but if you're just brand new to the game, when I started, overlays are pretty helpful because they can give you a general gist of like what to do, how to do it, things like that. So for Aphelios, he's really good with extra attack speed and things like that. So this item is really good for him. And what I was saying before, with unit percentages or chance, right now I have a 45% chance for 1 cost, 33 for 2 costs, 20 for 3 costs, 2% for 4 costs, and 0% for 5 costs because I'm level 5. Next round I will have to go level 6 though, because if not, I will lose the game or not make it far. I am going to sell Yunara because I'm not going to play her. Okay, so right now I'm here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to add in Nico just for now. Roll a bit. Oop, I just rolled past a bar too. Oopsies. You can be like me and not miss your units. That would be very helpful. But if it happens, it's okay. It's not the complete end of the world, at least, so. As you see, I'm holding these because I want to save them because I do want to use a tier on my bard, but I do want to use the belt for my scion or my primary tank. But sometimes it's better to just kind of hold the components rather than splitting them up. But I might just have to end up slamming them anyways because holding them right now is not really working very well for me. So after this round is when I am going to try and basically roll down majority of my gold to see if I can hit more of my units. Because the more basically higher star of your units, the stronger your board can be. So in my case, I am playing a reroll comp. But for those who do want to play more of a fast 8 or late game style comps, all these guys, it is really good to lost my thought. Oh, the good rule is to, if you can level, still have around 40 gold. You can still usually do it. If it drops a little lower, I only do if I'm winning and trying to keep my streak. In this case, I'm trying to stay alive, so I'm just gonna roll a little bit. So I am finding more of my pairs now that I'm 6. I did go a little under 30, that's fine. I do have another Aphelios item, so I'm gonna put that on him or slam it. But yeah, so from here, in this case, I'm gonna try and stay above 50, or in this case, I slow rolled down to 30, 32, just to upgrade my units. And then once I'm close to those upgrades, that's when I'll spend a little more aggressively to finish them. Right now, I'm still kind of slow rolling because I don't really have enough yet to spend all of mine completely yet. So I'm just waiting for that. So now in this case, this one does give, let's say, 3 random 2 stars. So that does give gold. Let's say the champions are kind of not what you need. Best friends is pretty decent too. I personally don't really go for this one just because I'm not really confident when I play it. So I'm gonna re-roll that one. This is actually pretty decent from what I'm playing since it gives me a rod. This one is pretty decent too if you want components, and there's this one too. But in this case, I'm gonna go for Crown's Will. I'm gonna put this Kabuko in. Move the Scion in front of my Aphelios. And I'm going to now put that Jeweled Gauntlet here onto my Bard. And I'll put the Spirit Visage on my Scion so that way he can just regen a little bit more health. And sell that Nico because I don't need her. Typically, if I was playing a level 8 comp, I would try to be level 8 by either now, or if I can sustain it, or if I need a little more time, do it after that carousel here. So awesome, I got an Aphelios. My Bard printed me a Shen. I got some gold. I'm just gonna roll a little bit here. That's tough because I actually have a Bard on my bench. You know, in this case, I'm gonna sell the Kabuko. I still have a decent spot to get him later. I love when bench locks you basically. And it doesn't look like that item. Oh, I do have another Spirit Visage. Interesting. So in that case, I'll just put him on here. Let's see, is this a 2-star? No, it's a 1-star. So I would red. In this case, I would prefer to get... I'll just grab him, because Scion is a really good unit. His health kind of scales in the game the more damage he takes, basically. So as you see, I have started win streaking, so I am gaining gold now with each round that I've won so far. In this case, since there's not really much units I want from here, I am going to go for an item. In this instance, I'm going to go for the Ahri because she has the vest. And for my Scion, I want to put a Bramble vest on him, which is this guy right here. I'm low rolling again to see if I hit more of my units. Nice, I hit a Bard. Nice, I hit my Scion. I'm just gonna roll down here because I do want to 3-star my units by now, or at least the important ones. So the main ones are pretty much for me in this case, just at this point, or even Scion, Bard, Aphelios. So I will keep my Shens for now because I do only need 2 more. Also, a good thing to mention is positioning. Positioning matters because, as you can see, the fights have been automatic. So by keeping your tanks in front and your carries in the back, which in my case are my Bard and Aphelios, the frontline units can protect them. So as in stage 4 now, this is when I'm basically focusing on finishing my team, trying to upgrade my units like I said, completing items, making sure I'm in a decent spot for the late game. Nice, my Bard printed in Alawi. Now it's contemplating if I want to sell it so that way I can be closer to 20, or just kind of let it rock because I would like to 3-star her if I can. If not, it's not the end of the world. So typically for augments, actually, it didn't really go much in my favor this game in terms of it, but when it comes to augments, I do try to have a variety of them. So I always aim for one augment that gives me gold, or an econ augment, one that gives me items, and then one that helps me in combat. So in this case, I did have a trait augment, a champion augment, and an item augment. The main way that I was able to kind of sustain myself in the early game was because I didn't spend all my gold. So now I'm basically trying just to kind of recover that, get my units, things like that. But ultimately, if you were playing a level 8 or 9 cop, you would strive to be level 8 by now. So let's see. I'm really hoping for I get a tier or a glove here. Okay, so I got the tier. So I can just put this on my Bard for now. Kind of hurting not having an Aphelios item yet, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm trying to really get that 3-star Aphelios. So I got my 3-star Shen. That's cool too. I'm gonna sell the Alawi because I want to try and get that 3-star. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it here for now. Let my gold pop back up. Roll down again, go 7, put in another unit. Granted, some gamers probably would be level 7 by now, but I typically usually end up taking a slower approach when it comes to my games. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it's a little tricky, but it's all the fun of TFT. You learn as you go along. Let's see what I get. Oh, I got gold. Sweet. Okay. So now I am gonna roll for him. I missed it. Oh my god. We're just gonna pretend we didn't see that happen. But I got my 3 stars. Next round, I will try and recover those Wukongs that I missed. But like I said, one thing you can learn from me is sometimes your keybinds will be a blessing, and sometimes your keybinds can be a curse. So back when I first started playing TFT, I just used a point and click everything. Now I have like my keybinds set, one for leveling, one for rolling. Sometimes if you're speed rolling, you will miss a unit. It's just one of those things that happens. But like as you can see, I'm still okay. Oh, I beat this person. Now you get to see a fancy cutscene. One of my favorites in the game, truthfully. And as you see, I've been doing okay thus far too because I am somehow still in second place. So after this carousel, I will go to level 7. Another important thing to add too, that I haven't done once yet this game, but somehow I'm still surviving, is another thing to do that's good too is scouting. And that's when you just visit the other opponent's boards to see their positioning, and you can reposition your units if need be. But yeah, right now it's more so just getting to 7, maintaining my win streak, finding units that can help me with that. See what I need. Since I am struggling to find my last Aphelios item, if I'm lucky, I am not lucky. In this case, I'm gonna just get this Ahri, put this Hexblade on him. It's not ideal, but it'll do it for now. Especially since the Hexblade is mostly for healing and ability power, but I would reforge it in this instance, but unfortunately I do not have one. So I'm gonna go 7. Roll real quick to see if I get anything. I'm gonna put Seraphine in. Just for now. I have my 2-star Kabuko. I can sell him. I'm not gonna 3-star Laui. I've concluded I'm gonna sell her. Roll again. I do want this Wukong, so since I'm at 33, I'm gonna lock my shot. This Jinx is a beast. Oh my goodness. Somehow I won that. Jinx always scares me. I'm gonna sell him. I'm gonna grab him real quick, unlock my shop. Sell the Seraphine, put him in, sell the Yasuo. My final unit would be a Volibear. I just need to go 8 for that. Actually, I might go 8 now. And I do prefer Wukong over Kabuko, so I am going to put that item on him. And I'll put the spare vest too. Once I hit 50, or after the dragon actually, I'll go 8 and get that Volibear. Which is the unlockables, which is the set mechanic for this set. I think that actually is a decent tidbit to know for those new to TFT. Every set has a different mechanic or theme, so the next set has something completely different than this set. Different units, everything. Oh, top 4! Nice! But yeah. So after this, I am going to rush 8, meaning just fast level. Use my gold to get there. Hopefully I unlock the Volibear in that shop, things like that. Some units this set are a little tricky because they either show up in the next shop or they show up in the shop after the fight. So I'm gonna level here. Hey, where's my bear? Okay, in this case, it is after, so I got You know, in this case, I'm gonna take the Giant Slayer, put it on Aphelios. The Hexblade I don't really need, unfortunately, so I'm gonna put the Tark instead of the Swain because it gives the Targon trait. Alright, so we got the bear. Well, now I buy him, take out the Tark, and I'm gonna position him over here so that way he just protects the Aphelios. Get rid of him, get rid of him. Just roll. See if I can get more of my late game pairs. Okay, I got my Wukong too. Awesome. See if I get any closer to getting that second bear. Nope. So we're just gonna sit here and chill for right now. Now for my Volibear, when I do get to itemize him, I'm gonna hope for some AD items, so maybe a Bloodthirster, Asterix, things like that. Okay, that was the Jinx Bird again, I think. And my Scion is still pretty decent health, wow. Oh, Yasuo, because I don't need him. Now it's just between me and Tristana. So she just scouted me to see what my board looked like. And this is their board. So they have solo plate, which means if the person is the only one in their row, they get those extra stats. So in this case, the Mundo is the only one in their row. That board is actually kind of scary. We should see what happens. I do have a Giant Slayer, so it should help hopefully when it comes to that Mundo. And it seems like my front line did a really good job at protecting my back line, which is what we want. And I won! So yeah, that's basically how to successfully play a game of TFT. I will say some general important things just to kind of keep note of if you want to know, is just some general basic guidelines. So like I was mentioning about the fast 8, fast 9, reroll, things like that. When I first learned the game, I got coaching from the TFT server. So that's a Discord server. If you haven't heard of it, find it, and you can find it on Google. I know that's how I found it. But that server does have free coaching, which helped me learn actually a lot of the game. Because when I first learned the game, oh, it was horrible. I would roll all of my gold. I wouldn't level. I had basically no idea what to do when it came to the fundamental side of it. Or like, when I say fundamentals, like the basics basically. So I've been playing since set 11. It is now going to be set 17. So just like a 2 years or so, past 2 years or so. Actually, yeah, it's been 2 years. So let's see here. I can give you some basic info. Okay. So when I got my early coaching, the gist basically is to grow your gold until 3-2. So you don't want to spend your money too aggressively on stage 2. And then once you are on 3-2, it's okay to roll like maybe 10 to 15 gold just to stabilize, find those 2 stars. And then you can either go 7 if you need those 3 costs, or as we saw like I play, I stayed 6 if I was playing majority around 2 costs or 1 cost, since the percentage of getting those was higher. And typically you want to stay above 50 until you're close to 3 stars. And then once you get close to those 3 stars, just roll it down, push those levels, and that's for reroll. And then for fast 8, you'd want to play tempo. Basically just keep that momentum early game, mid game. Maybe roll out a little bit, 3-2 if you have a lot of pairs. But the general guideline is to try and be level 4 by stage 2-1, level 5 by 2-5, level 6 by 3-2, and then 3-5 for level 7. And another thing to actually keep in mind too is that if you could make 40 after those levels, you can just level anyway. If you're making 30 gold, it's better to level on a win streak. So, and then late game, it's ideal to kind of be level 9 by stage 5. You can level to 8 by 4-2 or 4-5 if you don't have much gold. But yeah, that's kind of the basics of the game. I hope I did a good job explaining it. But yeah, so have a good one. This is your reminder, just drink water if you haven't. And see you next time.
Lace up your shoes. It's time to take a step for hope. Join us on September 13th and 14th for Strides for Hope, 5K suicide awareness walk or run at Lake Eola. Every stride honors lives and spreads hope. Experience a full day of community, resources, and connection. Bring your family, bring your friends, and walk together toward a brighter tomorrow. Sign up today and get a $5 discount and a free t-shirt. Take the step and make a difference.
Before we wrap up, we're actually going to move into some amazing interviews with women in game development and art. This is where we get that closer look into the creative side of the industry and hear directly from people working in those roles. Enjoy the conversation.
Showcase your individual skill at the All-Random Rumble, taking place on the Howling Abyss at the Full Sail Armada Fortress on February 3rd through 5th. Compete with and against other players, be the last team standing to split $10,000.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Women in Gaming, Breaking Boundaries. I'm Stacy Gerke, a course director at Full Sail University, and I'm really excited to be hosting today's panel discussion with Madeline and Meg. Today we'll be talking about real career paths in the gaming industry, how games actually get made, what collaboration really looks like on a team, and advice you can use right away if you're hoping to break into this space. Whether you're a student, an aspiring developer or artist, or just curious about how games come together, this session's for you. So let's get started by meeting our panelists. I'll have each panelist introduce themselves briefly. Tell me your name, your role, what you're working on, and perhaps one fun or unexpected thing about your job. Meg, would you like to go first?
Yeah, hi, my name is Meg Viola Fox. I go by Game Art Wizard on social media. I am a game artist. I've been working in the industry for about 10 years. I currently work on a project called Hello Kitty Island Adventure, and I am the lead marketing animator. So one fun thing that I get to do at my job is obviously animate Hello Kitty. Feels like a childhood dream come true. Sometimes I get to animate her doing a little dance or doing a hula, and it just is so much fun.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Madeline, would you introduce yourself for us?
Hi everybody, I'm Madeline Tavares. I go by Maddie. I'm a game developer with a with a focus on systems design, meaning I program all the systems that drive the game, including player health, combat, inventory systems, whatever you can think of. I hate to say I'm between jobs right now. Layoffs hurt, but it is the state of the industry. So right now I'm working on growing my network so that I can find my next job. One fun and interesting thing about systems development is just the plethora of things that I get to work on. It runs the gamut from some simple player health to a really specific mini game that I might create for, let's say, a boxing game.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. Awesome introductions. My personal favorite Sanrio character is Keroppi. But I do love some Hello Kitty. And I think that speaks to a great point of the shifting tech industry and really leans into the panel from Madeline's side of the house as well. So let's jump right in. So to kick things off, I'd love to hear about your journey into the gaming industry itself. So how did you get started, and what kind of technical or creative skills do you think companies are really looking for in new hires today? Madeline, let's kick it off with you.
All right, so I have to give a big shout out to the game series Little Big Planet, because if it was not for that series, I would not be here. Little Big Planet, just for a very brief overview, is a game series for the PlayStation 3 and 4, and what captivated me the most about it was the sheer creative potential to create your own levels. And so I'd spend hours and hours just kind of messing around with my own levels, seeing what I could do. So from there spawned the seed that would grow into this passion I have for making games. So from there I taught myself programming, starting with JavaScript and Python, and eventually finding out about C# and Unity and messing around in that game engine a little bit. I then went on to Full Sail University to get my bachelor's in game development. And after that, I found my first job with Engine Room VR to work on the boxing game Golden Gloves VR. So I love being a game developer. I love the creativity of it, the exercise of being handed a puzzle and coming up with the pieces to fit together into a nice solution.
Amazing. Meg?
Yeah, so I studied animation. I thought for sure that I was going to end up working in TV or movies. I did an internship at Nickelodeon, but then out of school, I ended up getting a job working on a game called Dragon Veil, which was a mobile game that was really popular in the early 2000s. And I got to design and animate a bunch of dragons for that game, and I just fell in love with the game industry. I always was a gamer anyway, so it kind of made sense, but yeah, I'm so grateful that I ended up in the games industry. And as far as what businesses look for in new hires, I always tell my students, I sometimes teach game art in my game art Discord that I run, but I tell my students that I think getting into games is about 50% what you know, and that includes like your technical skills, you know, using Unity or Unreal, using GitHub, all that stuff, and 50% who you know. I've gotten most of my jobs through connections from other jobs or connections outside of the industry. So yeah, if you can just try to meet people, I think that's huge. And if you have those technical skills, I also think that's huge.
Yeah, I think at Full Sail, we're very strong at recommending networking. And I think our students sometimes might get a little tired of that, but I promise you, to her point, Meg's point here is that that really is invaluable. And what I love and really stands out to me from both of what you guys had to say is that there really is no single right path into getting into this space, but really skills and curiosity and just really being passionate clearly matters a lot about getting into the developer and artist spaces. So let's talk about the actual, oh yeah, Madeline, did you have something you want to add?
Yes, I'm so sorry I forgot the second half of the
please.
question. Can I put in my answer for that?
100%, please do.
All right, so regarding skills that businesses look for, what I've learned is that game studios, what they want to know is if you can work on a team. It can be very messy out there. Things don't always go 100% to plan. You might run into team members that are not so great to work with, and they want to know if you can handle that with propriety. So if you can get some experience with game jams, volunteer work, internships, that'll look fantastic on your resume. And also that you should have a specific goal in mind to what you want to do in the games industry. Passion is a great start, but studios want to know, what exactly do you want to do? What kind of games do you want to work with? Do you want to work on narratively driven RPGs, fast-paced multiplayer sports games? If you could narrow that passion down into a single clutch of words, and that'll look fantastic for you as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We've been practicing with a lot of our students our 30-second elevator pitches. And part of that resonated with me is that you really need to focus in on which passions are driving you in your career. So we can be gamers across all different spectrums, but when we look at our careers, to your point, Madeline, we really need to make sure that we're stressing those things with hiring authorities, that we're great at cross collaboration, as well as having a honed in interest and passion for our careers and our goals professionally as well. So I love how there's so much overlap between creativity and problem solving on both sides. But to kind of Madeline's point about cross collaboration and maybe not always getting coworkers we enjoy, no career is without challenges, especially in a fast moving industry like gaming, especially when we're talking about the tech industry share shifting how the careers are looking right now. So we'd be remiss not to talk about, what challenges have you faced recently? How do you work through them personally? And with that, have you also seen any changes in the industry overall around how they work with diversity and inclusion? So, Madeline, I'll lean back into you to take this one.
All right, so the challenge that I am right now is being between work. Again, it's not a great situation, but unfortunately, it's the state of the industry. Everybody at all levels is in danger of being laid off. I hate to say it, but that's where we are. And the way I'm facing it is I'm networking as much as I can right now to build those connections and find myself my next role. I'm very introverted by nature, so this is new to me, but I know that this is something I have to work on, or else I'll just be lost in the void while others are benefiting. So I'm pushing myself to make these connections, make friends, get to know people, and I'm enjoying it so far. And if I recover from it, I'll let you guys know.
For sure, yeah, definitely keep us updated. And I think that that is so valuable to the point that we have right now of making sure that we keep up on these things like these panel discussions where we're understanding the industry, the space it's in now, and how it can be fruitful to our careers. Meg, I'll let you go ahead and take on this question too.
Yeah, so I think I've actually been really, really lucky where I haven't had many bad experiences in games. I've had a couple of bad bosses, where, you know, maybe it was just not working. Like, if I'm supposed to love my job, you know, I do love my job most of the time. If I ever find myself not loving my job, something's wrong. And the first thing I try to do, which is always the hardest part, is like emotionally detach from the situation. Like, keep emotions out of it. Try to just think of it as like a black and white situation and not get emotionally involved. And then once I'm able to get that like emotional detachment from the situation, it's easier to think clearer about next steps. Unfortunately, usually that has meant either continuing on with the project with absolutely no heart in it, which is never fun, or quitting. And I've quit a job before when my boss was maybe not the best. And, you know, if you're ever in that situation, I hope that you have the courage to quit as well, because quitting can be really powerful, I think. The biggest threat to my industry, specifically as a game artist, recently has been AI. I know that's been like a big threat to a lot of game developer positions right now. I think it's probably a reason for a lot of these big layoffs and stuff. And I think it's just too early to tell where this is going. Like with AI and everything, people can make predictions, but it's not really, in my opinion, as good as everyone says it is right now. So I'm just kind of crossing my fingers and hoping that everything ends up okay. But yeah, it's really hard to tell where it's going, so I'm not sure what the lasting effects will be.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I do believe that AI, there's a lot of money being invested in it right now, but if we're very careful and we're watching the news and the channel, we're seeing that a lot of companies are actually rolling back and hiring people back into positions that were previously let go of. And they're scaling back on what they thought AI could do because people are still doing it better, and they're keeping that human touch immersed within it. So my advice on AI, if we were to do some futurism here, is really just to lean into AI when it's appropriate to take away some of those administrative tasks and harder duties that just take up a lot of time. But add the human back in when we're talking about creativity, the artistry, and making sure that we're reaching our audience in meaningful ways, because AI is simply not capable of doing that. But I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about your unique roles that you've had in this space. So I'm going to lean into our developer first. So from a developer's perspective, how do you collaborate with game artists, and how do you manage schedules that include artists and other team members? We've talked a lot about cross collaboration in this space. So how do you manage that day to day?
So whenever I need something from an artist for whatever I'm working on, whether it's UI assets, character models, props, whatever, I'll meet with them and explain to them what do I need and why do I need it. I'll also talk with them to see if there are any possible issues from their side of the pipeline, because as a game developer, I don't specialize in art, so there are things on their side that I'm not aware of, and I would like to have that line of communication open as much as possible. So once we have a game plan ready, while they're working on the assets, I'll just use generic placeholder assets, simple sprite shapes, generic 3D models. And if there are any issues on either side, if I see something wrong with my implementation, or if the artist runs into an issue, we'll communicate, hey, this is what's going on, this is what we can do to get around it, and we'll just keep in touch, work on our side of the implementation, and then once the assets are ready, then I will import them into the game engine. If there's any import notes that I need to know, for example, I work with Unity, so sometimes the import size can be a little off. By that I mean if a model is in Blender, I might have to scale it up by 100 in Unity, so I'll note that. And then I'll have them take a look at the model, the asset in engine, and if everything looks good, then we're good.
I love that. It sounds like a lot of strategic goal setting and a lot of really strong communication and meeting each other kind of where your strengths are, but also being very aware of kind of where you have some of those weaknesses or what's not in your wheelhouse, and letting those things go and trusting the other person to pick those things up. So let's flip the perspective. As a game artist, Meg, how do you collaborate with your developers? With that, how would you approach a leader about deadlines that are coming up? And we kind of talked about this a little bit with some toxic bosses you've had. Let's flip that. And what makes a good leader, in your opinion?
Yeah, I love working with game developers. It's easily one of my favorite parts of this job, because other game devs are also just like huge nerds just like me. They're so fun to geek out with. They're so fun to talk to. They're really cool. They're generally great to work with. So my favorite thing on remote projects when I'm working with developers is just let's hop into a Discord chat. Let's chat it out and work out problems, and I can share like where I want my art in the game, how I'm imagining it working with the engine, how I'm imagining the player inputs feeling, as an animator, like how do I want this jump to look? How do I want, this to feel when you press this button? So it's a lot of that sort of back and forth, but usually we just hang out in Discord until it's all implemented and looking the way that we are both envisioning it. What I think makes a great leader is I think a good leader always listens to their experts. So I've definitely had like a terrible boss who it was like my way or the highway kind of a boss, not really a great person to work with. You want to, when your teammates who are experts in their field tell you something, you want to just believe them and let them run with it. I think as a good leader, up to a certain point, and you want to be able to trust those people as well. And yeah, approaching a leader about a deadline, I think Usually I've had good leaders that know when the deadlines are coming and everything. If I ever need more time on something, I'm never afraid to share that because I know that means I'm going to be able to put my full effort in and give it my full work and my full time needed for it to be the best that it can possibly be. So I've never really had issues with deadlines, which has been lucky. I know a lot of game studios have like crunch time and stuff, but that has not really been my experience. I think on the art side, we experience a little bit less of that because we're earlier in the pipeline.
For sure. So for both of you, it seems really clear kind of how much trust and communication really matter regardless of which role you're in, that both of you guys are leaning into trusting one another to pick up where the other one leaves off, or to create a great foundation for you to pick up from. And then of course, it sounds like you guys are doing a lot of communication, not just with each other, but across with the different collaborators you have. And then of course with leadership, which I think has helped you to not run into a lot of those deadlines because you're keeping those communication lines open and clear so we don't run into those hiccups. So we're going to kind of wrap up the main discussion, but I really want to focus on advice people can use right away. So what advice would you give to people that are trying to break into the video game industry itself? What tools are going to help them get noticed? And what are essential pieces they need to include on their resume and portfolio websites? Madeline, I'll kick it off to you.
All right. My first piece of advice, the big one, is network as much as possible. I've heard it 100 times in the past week or two, and it's already been said here, but it's about who you. So please network as much as possible. Get that early jump. Start in high school, middle school, even. There's no too early. And if you're introverted like myself, I understand. It's a scary world out there with 1,000, possibly 1,000,000 people clamoring for attention. So start small, join a Discord, maybe hop in a voice chat with someone, join a industry event virtual, and maybe do a panel like this one, go to a convention like PAX, GDC. Small steps will build to bigger things. And in regards to the portfolio question, I would say videos of your gameplay or gameplay from the games that you have made, keep them short. Recruiters are not going to spend a whole lot of time on your portfolio or resume because they get hundreds, possibly thousands of applications. And so they're only going to have a few seconds at most to give yours a glance. So you want to showcase yourself and your work with as much punch as possible in as little time and space as possible.
For sure. Meg, over to you.
Yeah, so I teach this a lot to my students, so I kind of have a method here. But my number one advice, especially for artists, because I don't think this is usually taught at art schools, learn your programs. Like, learning a game engine is so huge for artists. It unlocks so many possibilities of different portfolio projects, game jams you can do, projects you can just jump right into. And I think it looks really, really good in a portfolio. So I always recommend learning Unity and GitHub. Unity is the biggest game engine, but Unreal Engine and Godot are also good to learn. Do a lot of game jams. Game jams are one of these rare things where sometimes it counts as experience on your resume, which is huge. Experience is huge. People are always looking for that. Game jams are also great for networking. So game jams are literally your superpower. I recommend people do, like while you're job hunting, do like one every weekend for real. Get real experience in any way that you can. So game jams, like I said, any smaller projects that you can jump into that, are being offered as like, oh, hey, we just need help with X, Y, or Z. Like jump in, give it your all, really like pour your whole heart into it. At the very least, you'll end up with a portfolio project, if not a job in the future, and those connections. Like Madeline said, networking is huge. There's meetup groups you can join. There's Facebook groups, Discords. Like, if you're really shy, like Madeline said, I like to reframe networking as we're just making some game dev pals. Like, we're just making friends here. Don't go into it with like this cold corporate mindset of networking. Go into it as we're just trying to make some friends. Like, and don't put too much pressure on it because that makes people really nervous and flustered and other people can tell. And then when you do go to apply for jobs, one thing AI has done is it's made like cold applying to 1 million jobs way too easy. And so these jobs are getting all of these cold, heartless AI applications. So a way that I tell people to stand out is to follow up with the person that you're sending the application to with a nice email, including a personal note, something AI could never write, that has your feelings or emotions about the games that they're making or how you vibe with the studio. And just really like going the mile every time will really help your portfolio or like your resume stand out above the rest of the crowd. And then finally, I think social media presence is unfortunately very, very important. I could give a whole talk on all of my social media tips. I have a million and I've used them to grow my own channels. But the bottom line is just make sure you make what you love and you're sharing it as often as possible. And finding your people online is huge. So yeah. The most important thing by a mile you can show on your website is definitely experience, but there's multiple different ways to show that, of course.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think that both of you are giving such practical advice and easy steps that people can take right now and continue forward in their careers as they progress. I would say that each of us are, doing these panels, even though we've had established careers, and that we keep our social medias going and that we're continuing to network and do these steps too. So this is not just advice for how to get you into the industry, but how to stay in the industry and grow in the industry as well. So I want to just say a huge thank you to our panelists here today for sharing their experiences, some authenticness, some honesty, and of course, advice. I want to thank everyone who is watching and was able to join. Keep your interest and curiosity. This is what is keeping this industry evolving every single day and makes the gaming interesting. And I think if there's just one takeaway for each of you, it's that there's no single right path into gaming. There's no single right path into your career and your journey. But I will say that collaboration is going to be the key to the success of that journey. So thank you again. And we really hope you enjoyed this panel on women in gaming, breaking boundaries. And we hope that you enjoyed it as well. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Join Armada Blitz March 30th, 31st for the best experience of your life. Are you ready? The Fortress's biggest event of the year is coming in March. Play your favorite game or join them all to see who the true gaming warlord is. Invite your friends and family to experience the best on-campus collegiate event in the world. Compete against students and fight for the final prize. Be the champion you were meant to be. Sign up and register using the link in the description.
As we begin to wrap up for tonight, thank you all so much for joining us and being a part of our event. Huge thank you to our panelists, our speakers, and everyone who was involved in bringing this together. And of course, shout out to those amazing Project and Portfolio 6 students who made this entire event happen. Of course, to our audience, we hope you learned something new, you felt inspired, and maybe even saw a path for yourself in the gaming industry. Thank you again for being here, and we hope to see you at the next one. Have a good one.
Hey everybody, my name is Darnell. I just, again, on behalf of me and everyone here, just want to thank you for attending our event, Women in Gaming, Breaking Boundaries. We loved having you, and we look forward to the future.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for watching. Peace.
Thank you for attending Women in Gaming, Breaking Boundaries.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining us and watching Women in Gaming, Breaking Boundaries.
Hello everyone, my name is Glenn Bloom. Thank you, on behalf of all of us, for attending our event, Women in Gaming, Breaking Boundaries.
Thank you for attending our event, Women in Gaming, Breaking Boundaries.
Thank you for watching. Thank you so much.